Welcome back, boys, to the Philly Escape Podcast. It's episode 27. We have a special guest here, boys. So we have Jackson.
Hello,
Okay.
everybody.
Joseph Britz.
What's
How
going
are
on?
you, sir? And
What's going on?
special guest, super fan from day one. Never met the kid, but he's been listening for every single episode. Harsha Amani, hailing from KOP, Pennsylvania. What do you got to say? Welcome to the club here. Super
So I got
fan.
three things.
Never
I got three
known you.
things. One, it's from Malvern, so get it right.
Okay.
One.
Well,
All
Philly
right.
suburbs, all the same to me. So
All right. Two, and this is the first episode I've fully listened to. I've only listened to like one episode.
only
So
the one that you're in. Wow. Okay.
Wow, not a true super
Sad.
fan. Not a true super
Sad.
fan.
Listen, that's good enough for me. Welcome.
Maybe our super fan, though, to be honest.
Tuning in from Good Morning Football over here. So no, it's
oh God.
so you have a
Marshall, we're
good
happy
you
to
have a
have you.
good
Hopefully this isn't your only podcast that you're on. Hopefully,
Nah.
Well, I was just gonna say he has an impressive resume, but if he passes the interview today, then he might be able to move on to the next round.
Fair.
Maybe he'll stay
Fair.
permanently. We'll see. We'll see.
Job market's hot, boys.
So-
You're gonna have to compensate me well.
Oh yeah, we have a ton of capital to just throw your way.
That's true.
Hell yeah.
We have a big
we'll
budget
give you
this year.
percentage points.
So, just based off of our success from the year one, we have a big budget, so we'll just throw money your way. No, but I think we're going to talk Eagles today. We'll focus on training camp takes. Might want to bring up the Sixers just so Harsha and Jackson go at it. We got to find a topic where these two just go at it. I don't know if they will. They probably won't.
We could probably
It'll
just
make-
bring up anything
make
and
for
they'll just
good,
get the ball rolling.
Do you have
it'll
differing
make
takes
for-
on the Snickers?
It'll make for good podcast material. So
You can't see me.
but,
Look at these. I'll give you these hands.
we're put them down for now. We're not in the Rangers yet. Ding,
Yeah,
ding.
well, relax. Marshall, jeez.
So with training camp going on, right? I'm not there this year. I can't see it with my own eyes. But how serious do you guys take the training camp takes? Because we see something coming out every day from the ESPs of the world. Jalen looks great. Jalen sucks. How serious do you guys take the training camp takes? And just to give a couple highlights, you got Miles Sanders and Rieger running with the second team this week on a couple different days. You got Jalen looking good some days, and apparently he had a terrible day today. So they're reporting both sides of it, not being biased as to Jalen looking great or terrible. How much faith do you guys have in the training camp takes, and is there anything that you've seen that you liked so far? Let's kick it off with Jackson. What do you got?
Well, I
for
was
us?
gonna say I don't want to go into too much of a rant. I know last podcast I kind of ranted for like 10 minutes at the start of it.
Keep the rant, the
I-
opening
Trying to keep it
monologues to a
low.
minimum.
Yeah,
I want to
So
go
I was
last
gonna
on
say-
this because I might have a little bit of a take on this.
Ooh, it's a hot take.
I would say
All
I think I do put credence in what they say about the reports from the training camp. I think the fact that they said Jalen had a great day the first training camp and then a bad day the second training camp is just kind
you
of proof
believe-
that they're being honest with what they're seeing. But
Okay.
my main thing was going to say I think we're going to have a very different podcast today. I think if we had recorded yesterday, everything was very positive surrounding the team. I think it felt like almost after that first Atlanta game from last year when I felt like we were going to go undefeated because we just absolutely demolished first game of the season. But today, I don't know. Reports weren't so good today, so I think I don't know. I think
I
Yeah,
honestly
practice, they're
thought,
gonna be good in practice.
yeah, I honestly thought you would have said you believed yesterday's report, but not today's. Just knowing you, but okay, all right, Harsha, you're shaking your head down there? What are you thinking coming from the Eagles?
So just one simple question to everybody, right? Like,
Okay,
does
answer question with a
training
question.
camp, does training camp have a win-loss record?
It does not. It does not.
Right. So
Okay.
it does not. Therefore,
Elaborate.
does it like it matters to get the sharpness in? Yes, but like, come on, man. Like, we're talking about training camp, boys.
Already comes
will
say-
in with a come on, man.
Listen, Allen
Okay.
Iverson right there. Come on, man.
To be
Come
fair,
on,
they
man.
said they're going to be
Talk
trying
about-
things
talk
all
about training
practice, and it's not going to be pretty. And then the next day, everybody's like, it wasn't pretty.
Yeah.
So Harsha,
Yeah,
you say about you talk about looking sharp though. I mean, the Birds, the practices are like 58 minutes. We're not even hitting the hour mark. This is another big thing that's popping up on radio, these past couple of weeks. Are you guys kind of disappointed with that too? With obviously in modern day training camp, they don't hit anymore. I don't think they even put on the pads, so that's
Nah.
far gone. But you talk about sharpness.
So
Are
that's
you kind of concerned with just the approach Sirianni and this coaching staff has taken?
Yeah, because 2 minutes is going to define a win-loss. Like, I didn't go the extra 2 minutes on
What
training
about
camp.
an extra hour? What
Oh,
about extra hour and a half? Those reps
I,
per
yeah,
day.
extra hour and a half. Okay, fine, right? But like, I mean, it's training camp. You don't have the pads on, right? And like, how many training camp injuries have we seen where it's just literally the most like unimportant drill? Guy rips up his knee, he's done for the year, right? Like we see that type of stuff
Yeah.
happen. So like, yeah, like I want them to get like the reps in or like that first twitch type of stuff or like the timing down, right? But like, okay, yeah, if it's 58 minutes on training camp, like, all right, do the 58 minutes and then review the playbook for like do something that like is keeping you sharp so that way when the season hits, you're ready to go. Right? Like, I'm not looking for these guys to be full on pads, full speed. No, I'm looking for them to sharpen up the motions, sharpen up the playbook. And then once the real stuff comes, they're ready to go.
Okay. So
I
we got Mr. Softy. Let's go to Brits.
Ha!
when it comes down to the training camp, like I do have the same take. Like it's not. I mean, it's not like you can sit there and look at the stats and like that. Like, hey,
I agree with that.
Devontae
Yeah.
Smith dropped 2 balls. I mean, oh no, he's done for the season. We got to bench him. Like
Terrible
it's like
season.
yeah. Like I don't believe any of that stuff. I do it does a little bit worry me about how much they're practicing because of our schedule at the start of the season, I don't want to start off slow against teams that we definitely should beat. And this is probably just like for this season that I think this like matters more because I would rather see them like kind of grinding out there and it looks like they're ready from the get-go instead of like coming out in like these first couple weeks and losing to a team that we should win against. Because like we've all said it, like our first 4 games are like all very winnable. I would hate to see us drop 1 or 2 of those games because we're not mentally ready for the season. You know?
Yeah. I mean, no, that's fair. It's again, yeah, I'm not the type of person, especially when they're running red zone and Jalen throws 4 touchdowns on 6 plays and attempts. I'm not going to take much from that just because it's like, okay, he should be scoring touchdowns on that kind of setup. It's just one of those things. Yeah, I would agree with Brits on this, where I just want them to be in game shape
Yeah.
for at NFL pace.
I think
For
the whole
game
thing
day.
is though that like they're spending an hour drilling plays, but they're not only spending an hour, I don't think, in the weight room. Like they're going to be in the weight room. They're going
No,
to
I
be
get that.
eating.
You're right.
These are NFL players who've been practicing their entire like lives. If the fact that if we're gonna lose the Super Bowl because they didn't get like an extra hour of practice to practice their
Well,
fundamentals in the offseason, I don't think we're gonna ever win the Super Bowl anyway. I think like the talent's already there.
I mean, it's a hard thing to quantify, like how ready they are based on the amount of time
See,
they
that's why
put in. Like we would never know. Like if they put in an extra 30 minutes, would it make a difference? I don't know that. How do you even know that? But
that's kind of why I specified it with just like the first couple games. Like I don't think it matters. That training camp ain't gonna matter week 10. You know,
because by the
like
time you're in week 3, 4, you're already, you're ready to go. You have the process down.
yeah. I mean,
But
everybody's in their
I think
season form.
it's more of a question going back to what Harsha said, where it's like those you know, those injuries where they're, just running. I think if they did a study of like years ago, just how many injuries, occurred in those initial weeks of, when the season actually started, how many of those injuries do you reduce just by actually hitting in practice and like getting those out of the way early in training camp? But I don't know. At this point, I understand like they're not hitting, so they shouldn't, go hard with each other now because every other team is doing it this way. So I don't know. I think there's probably some good takeaways that we can get out of training camp, but just looking back to last preseason, last training camp, I know we were excited about Rager. So, obviously look how that turned out. So
Yeah,
Hey,
that's
he's still
just
on
what
the
I think
team.
too.
guy
So
stinks.
he's still on the team, but what do
Rager
you
could
got?
easily make a comeback. He's not too far gone yet,
Okay,
I don't think.
here's where the homer comes in. So okay,
All
so
right, let's hear
I
this.
I,
I
I
want to
could
hear his
say
take.
I could argue he's number five on the depth chart, and I think we end up keeping him because Sirianni puts him as a punt returner, something along those lines. But
Hope not.
You hope not, but it's like last year you hoped he
So
turned
bad
into
as a punt
something.
returner.
He was a receiver you hoped turned into something. Like we tried to hope for, and now it's like you see AJ Brown, you see Devontae Smith, and you're like, okay, we actually have real receivers. But
So I think the problem with Rager is because like we go back a few years, we were in this exact same situation. It felt like with Aguilar, except to be fair, Aguilar at this point in his career was a lot better than Rager has been. I think
I think he will turn out better than, or did turn out better than what I think Rager will end up.
Yeah, and I think at this point, our receiving core is just so good that even any improvements that Rager makes, I don't think will be enough to land him in the top 3 receivers. And I guess that just maybe makes his contract like not justified or whatever. I don't know. I don't know if they want to keep paying him for a wide receiver
Well,
5 position who's never going to develop.
I mean, a rookie deal. Well, the question is, what do you do with him at this point?
Because honestly, I feel like I believe in him more than other people do. I do think he could develop, and I think maybe he has talent somewhere. I just don't know what you do with him because I don't know if any other teams are interested in him.
I mean, I think another team would take him probably. I don't know how much how much we would get
team
back.
that's desperate.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even like I don't even think that it's like a desperate thing. I think it's just like you see these deals go down all the time where it's just like low depth chart guys get traded for like a really late round pick, like, and it's just like they think they can maybe develop him, and we just need a pick, or we don't want to, we don't have a spot for him on the roster or something.
On and off practice squads.
Yeah.
Fulgham with one hell of a year. You never hear his name
I
called
think
again.
he could be like there's struggling wide receiver cores out there that he could like make be in the 3rd spot, you know.
At this point, though, I feel like
Yeah.
we don't even need to worry about Rager. Like our receiving core is good.
That's the thing. Yeah.
It was like I think that's a worry of the past. I think the worry of the now is how accurate these bad practice reports are for Jalen. Because like obviously yesterday, like I was saying, they said in the press conferences we're going to be going out and trying things on YouTube that we never really do, and so like it's not going to be pretty every time. We're just kind of trying things out, and then as the season goes on, like if they work, we'll implement them. So like this bad practice may have just been an effect of them trying things out. But if it's not, it's like how much can you really teach accuracy to somebody? Because I feel like accuracy might be the biggest attribute that a quarterback has that leads to success. And if he doesn't have accuracy, I don't know. If he can't throw it down the center of the field, we're doomed. You know?
I mean, I definitely
I'm
agree
going to
with
slightly
that.
disagree with that.
Go ahead.
You disagree?
I disagree with that, and I'm going to
First one
say
of
it.
the day.
Yeah, so I think if you're looking at accuracy, right? So like, I think that's an attribute that sets a QB apart, right? Like if you look at Josh Allen's first 2 years, the dude has a cannon of an arm, right? But he could never place the ball, right? And like I think accuracy is a twofold question of like ball placement and then having targets around you that are going to catch the ball, right? So like once he got Stephon Diggs, like I mean, yeah, his accuracy percentage jumped, right? So like I think with Hurts, right, if we look at like his accuracy, I think it's gonna go up this year because he's got AJ Brown to throw to. AJ Brown is bona fide one. Devontae Smith is gonna take hopefully a step this year, right? But I think with Hurts, like you look at his biggest success factor to me is gonna be managing the offense, right? Like I think last year we saw like he looked like a rookie. Like he's going through his first full season. He's trying to understand the playbook, slide protections and stuff like that. I think once he does that, and now he has a number 1 wide receiver to take his mind off of, oh, where am I going to go with the ball, right? Like I think his understanding of the game and processing of the game will get faster, which means he becomes more accurate, right? Because he has a better target. That to me, I think is what's going to get him to the next level. Like processing being in the offense.
I don't doubt that, like, as he's in the offense more, he'll become more comfortable and be able to, like, read through his progressions and hit the targets better. And I think the increase in talent in the receiver room is going to help a lot. Like, you throw a ball at AJ Brown, he's going to catch it way more than Greg Ward would.
Hey, Greg Ward's still on the roster. We do not tolerate Greg Ward.
I love Greg Ward. Greg Ward's like the new Jason Avant, I feel like. But I don't know. I just think ultimately, like once you get to this certain point, like everybody's always saying defense wins championships. And I think that's true if the other team has like a bad defense, you know what I mean? Because I think one defense can sort of counteract what the other team's doing. If the other defense can't, then the offense that can't be stopped is going to win. I'm just scared that at a certain point, they're going to maybe like lock down. They're gonna stack the box and like lock down AJ Brown, and we're maybe gonna get put in a situation where like Jalen Hurts has a bad first throw, and then it's like 2nd and 10, and he's got to like make an accurate throw. And in that situation, I think he needs to be the accuracy would help. And I don't think that I don't think Jalen Hurts is the kind of guy who doesn't have the ability to improve. I actually have like a lot of hope that he is going to. I don't know. I'm hoping he will. I'm just not 100%
Yeah,
confident
I
he
mean,
has.
a Jalen Hurts driving downfield that has momentum is a lot different than that 2nd and 10 Jalen Hurts who has to make a
Yeah.
really good, accurate throw. He has to make the play more than the play has to develop. So, but going back to that, I mean, my biggest concern with Jalen is more of him reading his progressions. Kind of going with what Harsh is saying, I feel like he can work on the accuracy piece, getting the chemistry with his receivers. And if that ball can leave his hand faster than last year, or he knows like
Yep.
he can get it to him quicker. It's I feel like it's a timing thing too. So I feel like he can work on that accuracy piece. Definitely a part of it seems like a natural ability, but I think that's like mechanics too. Just how you set up in the pocket, your release. I don't think that's completely natural. I think he can have the arm, but it's just those mechanics. It's reading those progressions, pulling the trigger faster because he sees that target quicker. I think he has to get the pace of the game down.
I'm
Yeah.
also going to jump in here and say something. I think the average quarterback, like if you look at Jalen Hurts, right, there's the passing component that he's got, right? Like he's not like by any, like he might take the jump to be like a really good pocket passer, and if he does, great, right? Like what was his like 5th year at Oklahoma, like he put up some ungodly amount of like passing stats and stuff, right? Because he spent the extra year at Alabama where Tua took over and he's like, okay, like I'll redshirt, like I'll learn the offense, I'll learn how to be a quarterback instead of relying on the athletic ability. I think if you look at him in the NFL, right, it's kind of that same situation where like he still has that athletic ability. Like he's still like he was, I think in Texas, he was like a ridiculous weightlifter where he was
Yeah.
like powerlifting like all
He's
the
really
time. So like
strong.
he is a really strong athlete. So like if you need for him to make a play to like instead of it being 2nd and 10, it's like a 2nd and 7 or a 2nd and 6, right? Because he has that ability with his legs. I think that alleviates the pressure on him, right? Whereas like a normal pocket passer, like dude's gonna go down, right? Like in the pocket. So you're sitting with a 2nd and 10 with a guy who's got some subpar accuracy. Jimmy Garoppolo is exactly who I'm thinking of, right? Where it's like he goes down 2nd and 10. It's like, okay, like he might make the throw. With
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts, it's like, okay, at least he can get me like 2 or 3 yards on a scrimmage because he truly is an athlete.
Yeah.
There's no debate in that. Yeah, that he's
Yeah.
Yeah.
My whole thing is I think I agree with you 100%. I would rather have Jalen Hurts than Garoppolo, and I think Jalen Hurts with his legs has the ability to avoid bad situations like 2 and 10s pretty often.
Carolina game, he won us that
I
game
would
with
just
his
counter
legs.
it in saying I would rather have somebody else besides potentially Jalen Hurts or Jimmy Garoppolo, somebody who I don't know.
Well,
I don't know. I feel like I'm
Well,
being
yeah.
more
I think
towards
everybody
Jalen
would.
than I normally would be.
Yeah,
I
Sign
just
me up
now
for
he-
Aaron Rodgers. Like I like
yeah,
if
now
we're
he
we're
can
game
play
on.
devil's advocate a
why
little
can't we
bit.
have everyone?
So, Brits, what are your
Yeah.
thoughts on it with
Well,
Jalen
I
accuracy?
mean, it's a little bit of everything you guys already hit on. Just like one thing Harsh said is it's like that you're gonna be like I have no doubt that Jalen's gonna put in the work to improve because he's done his entire college career. He already made steps from what we saw the very first season when he played those those 4 games at the end of the season. Didn't look very like comfortable. He was only really running. And then he comes out last year, has a pretty good year, I'd say, for a first full year. And now we're
So.
seeing that he's like, he's like coming into it like he's gonna have to make that jump. I think he will. I don't know how big of a jump. I just don't see him being worse than last year. I don't really see that happening. How much better he gets, that's the question. But also going back to like how the offense is run, I think with having Devontae not be the guy that the other team is just like, okay, we got to stop Devontae and then we got to make other guys make plays, which we didn't really have other playmakers. Now we'll have 3 guys, it being AJ Brown, Devontae, and Dallas Goedert, who are all able to make plays.
Yep.
And then
Yep.
even like Zach Pascal or whoever we're throwing at the third spot are
Guys,
and then Quez, obviously big deep threat guy. I think that's gonna really help Jalen because I mean, if you look at the other games, when you saw him reading his progressions, I mean, he was only looking at like the guy we're going to, and a lot of times that guy we're going to
Yeah.
was Devontae. And if he's not
Devontae,
open,
yep.
it's tough for him to find a guy that's even like, I mean, not let alone open or like just like can even like have a
Exactly.
chance of catching the
Yeah.
ball. You know, so he's just kind of running. So I think this is going to be an easier year for him, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Two big
The
things
game
with
should
that.
slow down.
Yeah.
Two big things with that, right? One thing that he's automatically going to get this year in the new receivers that he has, separation, which is
Yeah.
huge. Just from those receivers, AJ Brown could potentially be double teamed, and if not, you put two corners on him and Smith, and then like you said, Goddard's there to open that up. But the second piece is just the progression, identifying that target quicker. And I think, when you look at guys like Brady, if you can identify that target, you get that separation earlier, I feel like you really set yourself up, for a good release to become more accurate on that throw, like set your hips to make that throw. Whereas if the guy's not there, if you have a Rager and you can't get zero separation, you have to force a ball, can't put your body into it, that's when you get throws that are inaccurate and,
Yeah.
place.
I'd like
So
to
I
see.
think those are two big things. I mean, he's got to work on the progression and just hitting that second target, not just looking for Smith.
I also think we're gonna see a lot of like, he steps back in the pocket 2 seconds and then slings the ball to somebody. He doesn't have like before, like I said, it was just Devontae who could really run up like a perfect route and get like a good 6 yards or something. I mean Dallas Goedert obviously too, but like he's a tight end. It's not like the same thing as like when it comes to like route running or like getting like a bunch of separation. Like we're gonna have guys that are like, we're gonna run this play, we're gonna disguise it this way, and then someone's gonna be open. He's gonna hit him real quick. I think we're gonna start seeing a lot more of those like 2-second, 6-yard passes that we're
And
gonna
those
run
are
the ball.
easier throws.
And then
Those are
yeah,
3-step drop and
yeah,
go.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because like we didn't really see a lot of that at all last year, unless it was like I don't even know.
I mean,
like I
if
didn't
you
really
look
see that
at
much at all.
if you look at Rieger's route running too, I think even more of an issue than the drops is just his separation. He couldn't get apart from anybody,
Yeah,
and so that takes
route
away
running.
one complete receiver, and then you have Smith and maybe Goddard. So,
Got a
but
got a
go ahead.
question for you guys. Moving from Jalen Hurts, I guess, to the offense overall. Last year, I think it seemed like we started out the year trying to really go heavy in the passing game, and then as the year progressed, we found more success moving towards like a run heavy offense.
Yep.
From the moves that we made this offseason, it seems like we're really trying to bolster our like air attack. And to me, that would make me think that we're going less from the run heavy offense and more into a pass attack that we want to implement. And I'm wondering if you guys think that's true, and if so, if you think that's a good idea.
Yeah,
I slightly disagree, but go ahead, Brits. You got this one, and then I'll come in with my point.
yeah. I think I wouldn't say that
I
we're.
didn't think we did anything to bolster the run attack at all.
Yeah, I think the run attack's always gonna be there. I think there's like
Yeah.
never gonna be a time that we can't, just if we need to pick up a few yards or like, we want to start like controlling the clock. I think we have that option.
That
Just
was like
'cause-
our identity last year, though.
yeah, just because the offensive line is still so good. I mean, we got a couple guys in the backfield that can always get it done. But I think I don't know if we're gonna move through like a pass heavy offense like you see like like the Bucks or something like that. Like I don't think we're gonna be like that because I think that would be too much
Yeah.
for Jalen.
Yep.
So
Pass balance, maybe.
I think it's gonna be pretty balanced. Who knows? Because we in the Eagles past you've seen a lot of that like overcorrection and just trying to go to that like that passing game only, like where we're just slinging the ball and then we're just like run the damn ball, run the damn ball, run the damn ball. I think Sirianni is understanding about like how we need to run this offense. I hope he is, at least on just kind of getting a good balance in there.
So, slightly disagree with Jackson, right? I think last year us going to the run was more a product of who we had in personnel, right? Because it was literally Devontae Smith and the guys from Sheets, right? Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, and then the guys from Sheets catching balls, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
So, right,
Couldn't
and
even get
then
Wawa. Yeah.
Exactly. I know that's how bad it was. I'm a Wawa savant, by the way. I will always go Wawa over Sheets. But coming back to the point, right? So like your wide receivers aren't necessarily there. Your offensive line is arguably top 10 in the league right now. You probably have the best center in the league. You've got a left tackle who's a rising star. You've got a right guard who's right there. I think Landon Dickerson's going to take a huge step forward this year because he is now locked in at one of the guard spots. Isaac Seumalo's back, right? Like it's a healthy offensive line. So let the Hogs run, right? Take the pressure off Jalen, right? And you can either run options or you can run the single back stuff, right? Because we never fullback. So product of personnel is why I think we switched to the run. I think this year we go more play action pass because that's going to let Jalen get more time to process what he is seeing, right? Like we were just talking about how like Jalen was going to go through his progressions, process what he's seeing. Play action pass is the best way to do that. I mean, Sean McVay, he made Jared Goff a borderline Pro Bowler, right? And now we look at Jared Goff in Detroit, like,
Yeah.
okay, what's the difference? Play
Yeah.
action pass. So yeah, I think with Brown, I think it's going to be we should see more play action pass. I think that opens up the field for Jalen. I think it opens up the field for Brown, Smith being kind of the possession guy underneath, and then Goddard getting some of those mid range targets. So I don't think we're going to be as run heavy. I think it's going to be a balance, but I think play action pass is going to be the big key here.
Do you think
mean,
that's a good thing? Tom?
Yeah.
I can see that.
I
'Cause I
think it
think-
is, right?
Despite the fact that it was personnel only that the personnel reasons only that we had the running game, we were putting up like 250 yards a game,
Oh,
which
yeah.
is like
Yeah.
really good. It's kind of rough,
Yeah,
I think, to go away from that.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't think
control
we
the
should.
clock. You keep the
I
pressure off
mean-
your QB.
I
I'm
mean,
fine with it.
Short answer though, I don't think it was product of personnel because in the beginning we didn't run the ball at all. I mean, we gave maybe Miles Sanders 3 touches against the Cowboys. I think.
Right.
I mean, eventually we realized that was the identity of our team, but I think the key here is adapting. To Britz's point, like adapt to the game, how it's playing out. I just think
Yeah.
I think it was product of overcorrection. Okay, full passing game's not working. I think Sirianni even mentioned going into Dallas that we have to, keep going with the passing game just to keep up, assuming that it was going to be just like a back and
shootout,
forth,
yeah.
a shootout
Shootout,
between
yeah.
both teams. So I think the key here is don't go heavy one way, kind of have that balance, like all of you guys are saying. But
Right.
course correct in the game, adapt as you need to, because you could go both ways. I mean, the offensive, yes, we didn't bolster that running game, Jackson, but I mean the offensive line, you could throw anybody in there. You could throw me in there, even a Sheets guy, and you're still getting yards from it.
Well, that was
the way
Running
this
back
line is,
earlier-
so.
Earlier, you said Miles Sanders was running with the second team, which is what worried me because I was thinking like, if he's running with the second team, who's our fucking running back?
It,
You know what I mean? 'Cause,
may
like,
worry you, but at the same time, like has he ever
I know, I
has he ever been the surefire? Yes, he's a surefire one right now, but like if you're looking in the future, if we walk away from Miles Sanders next year, are you that worried? Because there's going to be a guy to replace him. I know there
well, for
will
me,
be.
I'm a Jordan Howard. I'm a Jordan Howard homer.
Yeah.
I feel like I support Jordan Howard. I think Jordan Howard, as soon as we
He
got
killed
into
it last year.
games
Killed
last
it.
year, he was getting like 5 yards a carry. There's no reason for him to not be on the team. I think I'd rather have him than Miles, or both of them at the team.
I mean-
Ideally, I don't know.
I mean, the Howard Scott duo worked tremendously last year.
I think
yeah.
so-
I think when you're talking about bolstering the run game, like I mean, if you're talking about bolstering the run game, I honestly think when you're talking about like personnel, like who to pick up to get the run game going, you look at
I think it's
offensive
line.
line. Yeah,
I
you,
think
you
it's
don't really
linemen.
look at,
Yeah.
especially in nowadays
Nah, yep.
NFL.
That's
It's just-
not. Yeah.
That's
That's
the
not-
reason why
Running
I'm
backs
not,
get pounded.
yeah,
Get O linemen. Yep.
yeah, I think like I mean we still got Boston Scott, we got Gainwell. I mean he was looked at last year or looked at in the draft as like a pretty solid running back that we got, and like I don't have worries that as long as we got guys that are capable running backs that are like like they can understand like the offense, I don't see a problem with like the personnel we have now, and with Miles, I think Miles is obviously the most talented of the running backs we have. But like I wouldn't be like, you know, super like upset if we end up losing him or like if he's not the first guy in training camp. I think it's
Yeah.
gonna be fine, like whoever's back there. I want him on the team. I like Miles. I still obviously want him to see him like get better, and I think he actually will. But
I guess to be fair, since we do a running back committee, it makes sense that they're switching first and second team. Now I'm thinking about it.
yeah, that could
Well,
be also be it.
here's the thing. My question, who was the last guy that was okay when we weren't a running back by committee that he was the bona fide starter? That's it. We're not doing a committee. It was probably McCoy, right? That we can think back to where he was just
Yeah.
a guy. But since 2017, I think this Eagles, team has learned that we're going to do the committee thing. That's going to be our strategy when it comes to the running game, and we'll continue to cycle out. So when we don't sign Miles Sanders next year, which I think will happen because of his injury proneness and where depending on where the stats lie and his health, I think more of his health is the cause for concern.
I think so
I think
too.
I think we'll just cycle in a new rookie, get him on a rookie deal, get a guy who'll just will
It
fit
seems
right
to be
in,
the
just
way of the
plug him
NFL
in.
right now is to do
I
that.
think that's
Unless
I
you
think
got
that's
like
what
Derrick
we're
Henry or Jonathan
I think
Taylor
that's
or
what we're
something like that.
moving towards. Yeah, but even JT, that'll be a sad story once he hits year 4. Something's going to happen. He's going to get hurt from the million attempts he has per year, and it's going to be a sad story because he just can't make it in today's NFL.
It's crazy.
Yeah, Chris Carson, basically.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
You gotta just hope and pray. You love to see talent like that, but
Yeah. Oh,
comes.
I had one more point just talking about the run pass balance. I think how much we put into the defense this year is gonna actually help help the passing game because I think we
I agree.
I think we ran a lot because we wanted to control the clock so much because we weren't super confident in our defense making stops.
Yep.
I think that's gonna help the
It was
passing
that
game
red
because
carpet defense.
what's that?
It was that red carpet defense. It was just they were on the
Yeah.
field for so long.
Well, it was that, and we were giving up touchdowns, or we'd be giving up obviously the secondary wasn't ideal. I mean, we had Slay, but like after that, it wasn't like we didn't have a bunch of guys back there that could like really
Yeah.
lock it down. But like I think now that we added a bunch of like linebackers and corners and even safeties now, I think we can go for those plays, and we're not going to be super worried when we do go maybe 3 and out or we have a bad drive.
I mean, I agree. Totally agree. I think defense always and makes for a good transition too, because I wanted to talk about defensive scheme towards the second part of this pod. So, defensive scheme. Got Jonathan Gannon here, second year. You got a lot of great talent now. So, here's the question: does Gannon change up his scheme now that he has talent here to fit the talent, to fit the players, or does he say, I like my scheme. I like the way it worked. Now I have talent and, I'm just going to continue doing what I'm doing, but I have more talented players. And I think I should see more success with, what I was doing last year, but I think
I
it should
think
just work a little bit better.
I think what he should do is change the scheme to the players he has in the field. That's what I think that's always what you should do.
Do you
I
think he has
I
to
agree.
with this new, cast of players
I mean,
this year?
how many times last year did we see guys 6 yards back, like worried
Yeah.
about getting beat over the top and giving up 8-10 yards? Like I think that has to change, and I think he probably knows that, and especially the fact that we have so much more talent on in the secondary now. I don't think he's gonna even have to do that keeping guys back and like protect over the top. So I think the scheme will change. I don't know how
I
willing he or how like dedicated to his own scheme he is. Hopefully he's able to change or he's willing to change. So I think he will. I think he will change.
me,
What
it felt
do you
like
think?
the biggest problem with our defense last year was we just could not cover the middle of the field. It felt like teams could just sit there and just throw like 10 yards
Yeah.
fucking all the way down the field if they wanted to, or like 5 yards at a time and just take off like an entire quarter, it felt like. Granted, that didn't happen as much the second half of the year. I just think that was maybe the big problem with the first half of the year. And I think Howie did a good job in the offseason, just really bolstering our linebacker core. I think we're going to be able to get better pressure on the quarterback. I think the fact that our secondary is better is going to really help the defensive line. And I think that all of the new linebackers are going to be able to shore up the center of the field. I don't think that our defense is going to be a problem at all this year.
I tend to agree
I'm
with
sure
you
Gannon
there.
is not going to run the exact same scheme that he ran last year, and I think I'd like to think he would tailor it at least somewhat to his players' skill levels and skill sets. But I don't know. I just overall, I'm not really concerned about the defense. I think they're going to have a pretty good year.
Yeah. No, I think he has to tailor it to his players, and I think with that, I think he'll have to change his scheme from last year to what Brits is saying, to what you're saying, Jackson, right? When a guy like Alex Singleton plays 10 yards off coverage when the play starts, you're just going to draw it. You're a smart quarterback like Tom Brady is just going to dump it off
Kill you
to
over the
his
middle, kill you,
6-yard
yeah.
outs, his check downs. And that's why they had 80%, completion percentage. And, like
A lot of
history,
games
like
like that against
breaking
us.
records, especially towards the beginning to Jackson's
Raiders,
point.
even the Raiders
But
killed us like that.
that's exactly, you make a Derek Carr an 80%, thrower. So that's why you change the scheme. You go to press coverage. You be more aggressive. I like a 4-3, in comparison to a 3-4. I like getting those big guys, Jordan Davis, Fletcher Cox. If you can have them both on the line, take up 2 guys each, that could be dangerous with Hassan Reddick on the outside. Get some sacks, get some turnovers. You have Slay and Bradbury who can play press coverage. Don't take away their talent. Don't limit these guys. Fit it to the players. Don't the other way around. Force the players into a certain scheme. So I think he has to change it up, and that's be aggressive. That's my personal thought on it. But Harsha,
So
you're in agreement, or are you?
yeah.
He's got the thinking cap on. So
So I just think about 2 things with this, right? Like that's first, that secondary point you hit on. I think this is the best tandem of corners we've had in a very, very long time.
Yeah.
Maybe
Like,
Sheldon, maybe.
yeah.
Lito Sheldon.
Because I mean, Bradbury was a Pro Bowler. I mean, Slay's a Pro Bowler, right? I think in years past, right? Like I would and I know Dallas is down to like 2 wides this year, but like if we played Dallas, like I knew, CD Lamb would torch the guys we had on him, right? Or I'm trying to think who else would be a good one. Like when we were playing Green Bay, like Slay on Adams, like.
I mean, even the number one wasn't even, of course they torched us, but it was the tight ends that were an issue because, with
Right.
Singleton playing them in coverage. I mean, I'm blanking on Dallas' tight end, but guys like
Blake
that.
Jarwin,
Yeah, Blake Jarwin.
Dalton Schultz.
Schultz. Yeah,
Oh,
but
Dylan
I mean,
Schultz,
it gave them record days, when we.
Yeah.
Tremble, the Panthers or whatever, ripped us.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
no, and I think the corners, like I am pretty happy about that. I think we're gonna have a better year there. I think the point that I keep coming back to, right? And like I know he's listed second on the depth chart, but I was gonna say, do you guys remember when we got Jordan Hicks back I think it was like when Chip Kelly took over, right?
Yeah.
Someone went down in the middle of the linebacking core, and then Hicks came in as I believe a rookie or second year and took over the signal calling. Right, like
Mhm.
we had a legitimate QB in the middle of the defense who could cover, rush the passer, do whatever. Right, I really think Nakobe Dean is going to have something like that, right? Because he was calling the signals for that Georgia defense. Where
One of the
if you
best
beat
defenses in
Alabama,
college
you're
football history.
one of the best defenses in college football history. And if you're going up against an SEC offense that's full of future NFLers, like you're probably making some borderline NFL adjustments, right?
Pretty
So
promising. Yep.
yeah, and I keep going back to that because Alex Singleton, God, I don't like Alex Singleton slander. He's a CFL MVP. Give my man some respect.
But
But
he only had 120
I
tackles because his guy was
I
open
know.
and he was right there for the tackle.
I know.
He
I
lets
know.
him catch it, then he
But
tackles him.
yeah, he's like, I want my
Exactly. So
numbers.
I mean, look, he might be stat padding. Who knows? But to the point of, we've got a QB in the middle of the defense, right? Who's I think he will take over as a starting linebacker sometime this year because of what he can do. You've got that. You've got a secondary. I would say our safeties also look decent this year. And then the D line too, right? That's where we build from up front. So put all those together, I am more confident that if we're up by like a field goal going late into the fourth, we go 3-0. I'm like, all right, defense, go get the job done. I would
Yeah.
be more confident this year than in years past.
Yeah, I mean, top to bottom, like the defense and offense, like talent wise, like it's been a while
It's
since we've
much
had
better.
it's been a while since we've had this much talent, and especially in the defensive side of the ball. I mean, I guess the Super Bowl year you got to go to for sure. Like obviously we had a ton of talent there, but like other than that, like
I think
But
this defense is
but
a
even
lot better than the Super Bowl
even
defense.
on paper, yeah. I mean, that team really, like, based on names, was not talented. You had a guy
that's
like
true.
Jenkins who
No.
was running the show. You had Fletcher still in his prime, but you had on the outside. I mean, it was Darby, and it was. I mean, you had Oh man,
We have Rasul
the
or
the slot corner played out of his mind for the only
Pat Robinson was a slot
Robinson
guy. He was a Pro
year of
Bowler
his
that year.
career.
Yeah.
It was. I felt like
Yeah.
him and freaking what's his face. The guy. He was like a 5th round pick or whatever. He was like, what was his name? He was a stud. But like,
what was he, corner?
corner.
yeah.
Rasul Douglas,
Jalen Mills,
Not Rasul Douglas. Not Rasul Douglas.
not
Maddox?
Jalen
Jalen
Mills.
Mills.
No, did we have Maddox back then?
No, he had the
No.
dread. He had the dreads or whatever, the long
Sidney.
hair.
Sidney
Not Sidney
Jones.
Jones.
Sidney Jones.
Not Sidney Jones.
Who had the dreads? Maddox had. Thought.
That was
you guys get
Ronald
back, but I'll
Darby
post-
might have had dreads.
Oh, he did at the time. Yeah,
Did we have
he-
Maddox in the Super Bowl year?
counted off.
No, he was after. I
No.
think.
He was the year after. Oh yeah, because
Yeah.
he was the year after because we didn't have Goddard yet. They were the same class,
No.
right? So
Okay.
Yeah,
was the
Kevin
very-
Goddard, same
very
class.
following year. Yeah, because we had Selleck and Ertz. That's right. So
But
okay.
going back to the original point, like I mean, I can't like we were saying, like the Sheldon Brown, Lito Shepard era. That's the last time I can see like our secondary being this good.
Missed that.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Defense is
good
looking
times.
good. It's gonna make a difference. It really is. It's gonna help Jalen a lot. Give him short field.
They're going to be in a lot of games because like if Jalen's having a bad day, the defense is going to keep it close, right? And like with Jalen's legs, like one drive changes a game.
Yeah.
I feel like every year we're just hoping for one good linebacker, and I feel like you could argue if you at least get 2 out of the 4 of Nakobe Dean, Kazir White, and Hassan Reddick plus TJ Edwards, who looked really good last year. If you can just get two guys out of that, I'm
100%.
happy.
Well,
Yeah.
I heard they were thinking about doing a 3-4. Which we I don't
So
think
what
we've done in a long time.
what are your thoughts on that? I really just I want like Jordan Davis and like Hassan not Ridgeway, no, Hargraves and Fletcher to be in there to
Yeah,
get double.
I don't think we're gonna see it as much as they were talking about it. Like this was a while ago. This was even before, this is like
Yeah.
this is before the offseason moves that we made. I think.
Unless you scheme in a 3-4 and you hide the blitz and then you have Hassan Reddick coming out on the outside to get that sack. You got to get
see it. You also don't see
You
it a
have
lot in
to.
the NFL in general now. So
You got to get pressure.
yeah, it's a pressure game, especially Today's NFL is always all about rushing the passer.
Obviously, we know it's a game of the trenches, but if you get that done in the first 4 games against, Trevor Lawrence in his second year, Kirk Cousins against Minnesota, you got Carson who freaks out in the pocket, and
Jared Goff against Jared Goff, Detroit.
and Detroit. I mean, you're looking at 4-0 if you get good pressure off the defensive line.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, defense looking up definitely.
And I want to say Epps. I'm really up on Epps. I think he's a ball hawk. I think he had a couple picks a couple years ago. Most on the team. I know it's only a couple picks for the season, but I feel like he's around the ball. I don't feel like we have to worry about that safety position as much as we filled all the other gaps, right? So it's it's going to be okay.
Safety's a weird position.
Jaquiski Tartt's a good pickup.
Safety's a weird position too because like it's almost like you don't need like a great safety, like a top tier safety, as long as your other pieces are falling into place.
Yeah.
So like I think that's why we went for it last, and like when we were filling holes. But like I mean, obviously Marcus Epps is I think a good piece to have there. I wouldn't say he's a hole.
We got the guy from the 49ers, Jaquiski Tartt. He's serviceable. He's not like
for depth. Yeah. It's nice to have.
Yeah.
So, I just don't want to sound crazy. It was Crayvon LeBlanc. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
But he
LeBlanc
wasn't
was a
there. He wasn't there that Super Bowl year though. Actually,
he might have been 2018.
He came a year later, and he looked really good for that year. So, so we talked a lot of the birds. I do want to, while we're here, we got Harsha. We don't know if is he coming back next time. I don't know. But
I'll be back. You gotta give me a heads up.
We'll be back. I enjoyed it.
Harsha knows more about football than any of us.
He knows the X's and O's.
Yeah, exactly.
Intramural football, he was a tight end coming off the line. So I don't know. I was receiver 1, so call me Devontae Adams.
Of course you were.
He was more. Harsha was more of a Dawson Knox, I think, kind of guy.
Dawson Knox, that's a good tight end.
We got Gesicki over here. What's going on?
Gesicki.
Dude, at least I didn't drop the game winner like our first game, dude. PI or not.
Oh man,
I was pushed out on that one. That was a bad call. Should be a
No,
PI.
no,
PI
no,
or
sure
not,
it was.
man.
That was a
Devontae
PI.
Adams would have made that catch.
Hmm.
Yeah, you would have.
Jalen
I had
Rager
some-
would have made that catch.
No, we know he wouldn't have, because we saw the Giants game.
I had some Renfro routes. I had some Renfro red zone routes. Those were my favorite routes. So
If
Unlikely,
anybody's not
unlikely.
catching a game-winning catch, it's freaking Jalen Rager when he gets 2 in the end zone against the
well,
Giants.
we already saw that. Saw that in
Yeah.
person.
Oh God.
But so while we're here, while we have Harsha, I need your Sixers take. Do they get over the hump? Are they gonna do it this year? Let's
You gotta stop
Let's-
talking about this hump, dude. They're past the hump. They've
No,
been
they're
past the
not.
hump since a
my
while.
lovely,
Wait,
my
alright,
lovely
alright.
lady lumps.
Well, Jackson
Cody,
doesn't know what the
Cody,
word hump
Cody, okay.
means.
All right.
Yeah, Jackson, what is your definition of getting over the hump? I want to hear this.
If your team is healthy, you could win the championship.
That's not getting over the hump though, because you have to win the championship, and when you win the championship, that's when you get over the hump.
Jackson's
I
defining the
think we have
hump
different theoretical humps.
as having a
Lot of
team
humps
who
here.
can win a championship. So based on that standard, yes. I guess the question is, do you believe the team as it is can win a championship? Because in that
No.
case of Jackson's definition, you're past.
You say
So
no?
I think they need some
So it's
help
no.
to do it. I think they're
don't-
going to need some help to do it.
In this offseason, you don't think they've gotten enough of that help to
No.
be able to do it.
Absolutely not.
Please tell us why. Tell us why. The people
Okay,
want to know.
so all right, so let's compare us to all right. So if we were looking at this purely on paper, right? We're probably like if we get to the Eastern Conference Finals, we're probably going to hit Boston. Okay, so how do we match up with Boston? Okay, James Harden, Jaylen Brown, maybe advantage Boston, but for the most part, like okay, it's kind of a push, right? I think I would take Brown when it comes to defense. Harden, if he's healthy, firing, scoring, Harden, right? If we look at the big man, right? I think it's advantage us, right? I think, but
Huge advantage
Horford
us.
does. Well, yeah, but Horford does give Embiid fits. I think over a 7-game series, Horford could hold his own, right? I hate to say that, but he probably could. If you were to
I think
look
a
at,
healthy
agree.
Embiid-
Horford's a decent
Horford's-
player, and Embiid's like the second best player in the league. So I think big advantage to the Sixers, not small
Alright.
advantage.
But Horford to the Celtics is Foles to the Eagles, so gets-
yeah, that's true.
he
He,
gets-
only plays
he
good in
gets-
Boston.
he gets tickled by
Yeah.
God, as Brits would say. But
I didn't use
So-
the word tickled, but
I know.
okay, so
Continue.
right now, push advantage Sixers. Jason Tatum will eat Tobias Harris for lunch. I think we all can agree on that. Jackson, you don't think so?
2 lunch eatings. Then we eat lunch on Horford, and they eat lunch on
Just breakfast, not
I
lunch.
mean on Harris.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. All right. So, okay, fine. So right now it's kind of a push. If we look at our benches, right, is our bench substantially better than Boston?
I think after the
That-
offseason, yes.
That's a question of the year. $1 million question.
D'Anthony Melton's probably better than anybody on their bench.
The Boston's bench?
I would rather have Maxey than it's Smart on offense.
Okay.
I feel like
Oh, on
I feel like
offense.
PJ Tucker coming off the bench and D'Anthony Melton is pretty solid.
So I'm going to counter that because Boston now has Malcolm Brogdon.
That's fair. Brogdon's better than Melton.
Right.
But actually, Brogdon, to be fair, the Pacers did not want to re-sign him, and I think that could be signs that he's kind of cooked.
think he's on the
on his
towards
last
the end
legs.
of it.
He might have like injury issues with his knees or something.
Even if he does, but Malcolm Brogdon as your 7th best player is still very good.
I mean, yeah.
Right.
thought we
Like
were
you
talking
still have
about
that. Okay. So if we're talking about depth, so Malcolm Brogdon, I'm looking at the roster right now. Both the Williamses, you have Derek White still. I mean,
White's
like,
a great piece for them. Yeah.
and then you've got Danilo Gallinari coming off the bench. Like, and Gallinari's like, yeah, like the man was a borderline all-star a couple years ago. Like this guy's good. So like I guess my thing is this, right? If they want to win one, they're gonna need some help. Right? They cannot straight up compete with Boston. Like I'm looking at our bench right now. Like,
So you're
man,
saying
come on.
You're saying it's a bench problem. Like what is it though? Is it more defense? Is it more offense? What do you think? What do you think we need to make it work?
I want
Because
I want a bench piece like Malcolm Brogdon who I could call off my bench. He can get me some buckets. right? Or he can
You
stick.
should look up the Anthony Melton highlights. He's a good defender and shoots over 40% from three.
D'Anthony
and he can
Melton,
dunk.
D'Anthony Melton, all right, let's see what he I've seen him play and stuff like that, but let's see what he can do, right? I'm not ruling him out that maybe he is our answer, Malcolm Brogdon, but at the same time, I would take Boston's roster over ours, just from a pure bench depth and pure star perspective.
You
If we're
fucking
gonna
cuck, dude.
what?
You cuck, dude. Don't fucking suck on Boston's dick like that, dude.
I hate
Embiid,
I hate Boston.
Embiid is better than anybody on their team. He's better than
trying to
two
get to the
people on their
whole
team
cup.
combined.
He's not
Harden
better than
is a top
Tatum. Come
25
on.
player
Whoa,
of all time.
whoa,
Of all
whoa.
time. They don't have anybody that's a top
All
25 player
time.
of all time. Embiid and Harden
Wait.
are probably both top 25 players of all time. You put them together with Maxey, who's really good and gets better. You have a really good fucking offense, and you're not understanding that.
Wait. I need to unpack that one by one. Hold on. You think Harden is a top 25 player of all time?
Yeah, no
Oh,
doubt,
you
dude.
got to give him that, I think. By the
I
end
mean,
of his
My
career.
dude.
He's not in that form now, but I would agree with that.
He's
Not-
an
I-
MVP.
not-
He's a former MVP. He should have won MVP 3 times. He's won the scoring championship. He has tons of records. He's had playoff success. I understand he had to go against the Warriors, but he
I'm
had
with
to go
Rich
against
on
the
that.
fucking Warriors by himself. He is very good. He's 32. He's not cooked. He had a hamstring injury. If you think he's cooked at 32, I don't know what to do, dude. He's not cooked.
He's not cooked, but is he Houston James Harden?
I think he's not. I don't know if he's Houston James Harden. We watched a season of him hurt, and he put up over 20 points, or he averaged 20 and 10, dude, which is a good average. I think if he's healthy and he's explosive and he can actually dunk, I think he could get to a form that's maybe better for our team than Houston James Harden would be. We don't need somebody who's going to be going out there and scoring 30, 40 points a game. We need somebody who's going to be going out there and scoring 25 points a game and getting 12 assists. And I think that's something James Harden can do. And I think the fact that James Harden is able to open up our offense, I think is huge. We have Maxey who can shoot 40% from three. We've got Tobias who can shoot 40% from three. We've got Niang who can shoot 40% from three. We've got Melton who can shoot 40% from three. We've got PJ Tucker who can shoot pretty good from three. We've got fucking out the mud Paul Reed who shot pretty good from three in the G League. Let's be honest. He could hit some fucking shots.
I don't think we need him for
Embiid's
threes,
pretty good
though.
from three. Our whole team can shoot.
Everything else I agree with, though.
And I think that Embiid going into the paint is going to massively improve our playoff team. We've been in an era where Embiid has been hurt for the past 2 or 3 playoff seasons, and we haven't been able to see a real Embiid playoff run. I feel like the last real Embiid playoff run where he was healthy was Toronto, and we almost won the whole thing. And I feel like if you were comparing that roster to Boston's, you wouldn't agree that they're the same, but that they would beat them. But I think they would. I don't know.
I think I'm
I
gonna
think
cut this
that
part
having
and send it to
Embiid-
the 76ers and tell them to put it in the hype video.
So listen, I'm gonna
hyped up.
cut
That
it.
got me hyped up.
I'm gonna cut in here and give some time
Also,
for Harsh.
he's amazing at defense.
I'm gonna give Harsha some time to think and take that in, but I think there's a lot of great points in there. I'll say this.
Jackson, you got me hyped up. You got me hyped
I
up.
feel like the fan base has constantly said we need that player. We need that third guy. We need another all-star to kind of pair up, whether it's Embiid and Harden and somebody else, a Beal or a Dame that we were going to bring it. We always needed that player. What I think we always needed was a team, was that, those defensive bench and three-pointer, guys. So when you get a guy like PJ Tucker, he's that defensive 3-point guy. D'Anthony Melton, I gotta see him play more just to see what his game. You say 40% from three, I believe it. We got to see it in practice. You need those surefire 3-pointer and defensive guys. I don't think we always needed that third all-star superstar player. I think we need the defense and a little bit with the coaching too. We'll see what Doc does with the team that he has now, but I do agree with what you're along the lines of what you're saying, Jackson. It's those 3-point defensive guys, not necessarily okay, you need to go out and get a Beal like that. They're going to be the difference makers. So
That's what I feel like we stacked it with 3-point specialists, 3-and-D specialists. Even House shoots 40% from three, and he can defend. And he's a 3, which is somebody we didn't have. We haven't had a 3 since Grant.
And,
I feel like.
and you have to say Harden coming here has opened up the floor
Bro.
as far as giving those open looks to those 3-pointers. So with Harden here and those guys, if they can make the shot, Harden can get it there. I feel like it could work. I got to see it in practice. I don't know. I'm not saying it's not possible to get past the second round. I'm just that guy that needs to see it, see it to happen to believe it. So, but Harsh, what do you got?
Sorry, I'm trying to
The,
like
bar-
write down
the
some
barrel's
points.
loaded. Got
So
it.
I'm trying to write down some points here. So all right, I'm gonna have to do some more homework on Harden, but I don't
Ooh,
know. Like
okay.
top 25 is stretching it for me.
It,
Just
it,
like
top
for my
25
All time,
is
yes,
low.
I agree
Harden
with
will
Britt.
end up
Not
top
right
15.
now. Not right now. I don't think he's in that shape right now.
He was the NBA ranked him number like 25 on their top 70 players of all time list.
Of all
It's not
time,
like
yeah.
nah, no,
They did.
point-
No,
they
definitely-
did. He was like
definitely
number
did.
25 on their top
They-
70 of all time.
They absolutely,
My
they
point
absolutely
is
did.
not right now. I'm going to
Yeah,
what
yeah.
Britt said.
Yeah,
They consider it right now.
Okay.
yeah. No, they
Yeah,
absolutely
like-
did. They absolutely did rank him there. He's just definitely not in that shape right now. I mean, can he have a bounce back year after? I do think there is something to say about that hamstring, but go ahead. Sorry.
The man would not be putting out wine if he wasn't healthy. No, I'm just kidding.
No, but like, okay, so here's my thing, right? So like to Jackson's point, right? Harden, very I will be the first one to say it. Very talented, like very, very, very good scorer, right? Like he knows how to manipulate the floor well. He's a very, very good ball handling too. What frustrates me about Harden last year, and this might be tied to the hamstring injury, is you get like when we had Simmons here, right? Like what was our biggest gripe with Simmons? Like
He only played half court offense and he couldn't pass. In that he couldn't run an offense in half court. It was only transition.
Right, that, and then also when we needed him in the fourth quarter, he didn't show up. Like where the flip was Ben Simmons, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not saying Harden can't do that. What I am saying is during the playoff series last year,
He did
right?
not
Like
do
when
that.
we needed, like we signed up for this guy to be that lockdown number 2 superstar who, like, look, if we can't have Embiid going into the fourth, I'm looking at you, James Harden. Like, this fourth quarter is yours. Like, you need to lead us, right? Like, that to me wasn't there. And I think that's what skews my perception of, like, oh, do we get TJ Maxx James Harden, right? Like, the one we get off the clearance rack who, like, maybe has, like, a season and a half left.
Yeah.
And granted, like, shouts out to Daryl Morey. He got, he literally got something for nothing. He got an all-star for basically nothing because Ben Simmons didn't play at all. And like, I'm not going to get into him, but like my perception of Harden is like, can he really go back to Houston Harden, or even like 70 to 80% of Houston Harden? Because now he, like, when he was in Houston, right? Like did he have like a true number 2 superstar like Joel
It was
Embiid?
only Eric Gordon.
No, it was only
Yeah.
Eric Gordon and a knockoff Dwight Howard. So like, if
Yeah.
he goes to 70 to 80% of what he used to be with Joel Embiid, game on, right? Like, I'm absolutely behind that team. But right now, I haven't seen that, right? Like, and granted, it was half a
And I
season,
would
and like they
agree
have to
with
build
that,
chemistry. They have to build chemistry and stuff like that. So like, yeah, like this season, he gets healthy, he's committed, he's motivated, he gets like one of the things that I don't know if you guys have seen this, but like you see the rumors and stuff. You can't really put too much stock into it, but like there's rumors coming out that the guy, like, as he's aged, he doesn't. I don't know, like he hasn't
Take care of
really
his
like
body or just
take care of his body, like that type of stuff, right? So like if that changes this year, like yeah, maybe we could see a different Harden, but right now, like I just feel a little like, God, do we just get a guy who's like, and granted he's aging, but like, do we get a guy who's not going to produce at the level we've seen him produce at? Right.
It's not
That's
even
my
fair.
Because I think that's a
Yeah,
fair
go.
response, Harsha. And I understand where you're coming from because at the end of the last game of the playoffs, it felt like Tyrese Maxey and Shake Milton were out there and they were trying their asses off.
Yeah.
And for the previous 2 quarters, nobody else on the team even tried at all. Harden didn't give
Yeah.
a shit. And it was like there's no dogs on the team and it felt fucking, to be honest, very miserable. And
That just
not
rubbed
hopeful
me
at
the
all.
wrong way. No, I hear
It
you.
rubbed me the
I
wrong way
absolutely agree
too.
with that. Yeah.
And I went into the offseason actually pretty down on the team. But from what I've seen from Harden since then has led me to believe that I think they almost at that moment realized that with like a hurt Embiid, with a hurt Harden, it just was not going to happen. If they were going to get out that round or the next round,
Fair.
it just was never going to happen. And I
Mhm.
think what they did this offseason was like the 3 players they got, they are 3-and-D specialists, but the 3 of them like have that like dog mentality where like they would be out on the court, I think at the end just trying their asses off.
Right.
And I think the fact that they got those 3 players which were like the players that like Harden and Embiid wanted, and the fact that like the team is now like all hanging out together. They're going to like South Carolina for their field trip or whatever for the off
Yeah.
season. I
Yeah.
just think that they're all sort of creating this bond together that will make them do what we want them to do, like try their absolutely hardest, like fucking die on the court if they're until they like win or die trying. You know, I think that this offseason might create that mentality in them. And then I think couple that with the fact that Harden's like there's all those bullshit pieces about Harden.
I
Like
know.
he parties
Yeah.
too much. He doesn't take care of his body. But like a big reason for that is that Harden doesn't have an agent, and he doesn't have like agents will have people like write like positive articles about you and stuff like that. He doesn't have an agent to facilitate positive articles or like to put down like negative articles about him. He doesn't have anybody like in the like manipulating the media for him. And the fact that he like has gone out, A, taken less money, and then B, stated, I am hurt. I'm going to get better. I've started my workout earlier. He's been showing that he started his workout earlier. He's working with the whole team, and he I don't know. He literally said, "My legacy depends on this year. If I don't do good this year, I will not be remembered for like whatever." He's like, if he doesn't do good this year, his legacy is trash, and he's not going to be making money for the rest of the year. He literally has to do good to have his like name in the basketball lore for like the next 50 years. I think he understands that, and the fact that he understands that will make him
Push to the next
try a
level.
lot harder than we saw him trying last year, basically.
Well, I'm sure because he's either that guy that he was a superstar, but he could just never get it done, and that's where his legacy lies, or it's to your point, like, oh, he was able to do it because I
And
I think
if
that
he was truly cooked, he would have taken a max contract just to guarantee that money.
That's fair.
It's fair. He's
we
betting on
got
himself.
we got to see how it plays out.
You guys are making a
So,
lot of good points, and I think honestly, it's
I think there's
both the sides you're on. I think are what most of Philadelphia is on. You know, like you either see it one way or the other, and like at the same time, we still want to. We both want to. Both those sides want to see the same thing. They want to see a motivated James Harden. They want to see a fully developed or a full team, top to bottom when it comes to the bench, when it comes to the starters. I think everybody wants to see the same thing. I think everybody just has different concerns.
I want to see a goddamn championship. That's what
Yeah.
I want
that's what
another
say.
party on Broad Street. That's what I want.
Yeah,
But
we're all
I
on the
think
same
there's
page
a lot,
there.
I think there's some overlap in your arguments. I think there's a lot of places where you guys agree. I think the question is, can Harden be Houston
I think we
Harden?
pretty
And
much
that's
met in
it.
the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Or
there's a
I
lot
don't
of.
know.
I think there's
I'm
overlap
like,
there.
look,
There's
if he does
overlap.
it, I'll be the first one to say, like,
I think
dude,
maybe
game
the
on, we can go.
I think the difference between I'm probably sitting with Harsha on where he feels and just confidence level that he can be that guy again.
I think it's
And
just more concern and less
It's low
concern.
confidence.
You know,
Yeah. Well,
like,
it's
Harsh
my
is more
confidence level.
concerned about it, like what we're seeing
Yeah.
from these guys, and Jackson's like, I'm optimistic, kind of thing.
So
That's my whole thing is like, I just think it would be crazy for somebody as good as Harden to just get
Pack it in.
washed that quick. It would be sad. You know what I mean? It would be like a Westbrook situation all over again.
I was
don't
just
know.
about to say Russell
Well, I
Westbrook.
don't
It's
think he's
literally
that
the
bad.
situation.
We can all
For
agree
me,
he's
the
not that
difference is
bad.
like, I feel like Westbrook is all athletic ability, and James Harden is like some athletic ability, but mostly like mental. I think he's like he's just like he's the fundamentals. He has the right fundamentals, and he's just everything he's doing is calculated. He's like playing chess, and I just don't think
he's sneaky smart.
I feel like I think if your game is like chess-like, you could kind of have success while you're injured, but once you're uninjured, I don't know. I just don't think. I think his game is going to age well, and I could see the argument that
versus a
injuries
Westbrook
could hamper
that
for
if
you.
he versus a Westbrook, if he's injured, he doesn't have the same game because he can't play with his IQ. He has to play based on pure athletic ability, and so that's where the difference comes in. So
that's why I think it's more like Chris Paul like than Russell Westbrook like.
Right, it extends your career. You have a longer career because you play the game based off your fundamentals.
I was gonna say, Jackson, you just say Chris Paul because I feel like Chris Paul has elongated his career just being that much more smarter than the rest of the NBA.
Smart player. Yeah.
And to be fair, he had that 1 year where he was down, and then he kind of came back from it.
And
bounced back.
And guess what?
Yeah,
it was the same injury.
It was a hamstring.
Yeah.
It was the same injury, man.
All right, let's end on laughs and smiles. I like that. So I also think it's really funny that Jax is a great hype man for these players. I think it's really funny that you always say like, oh, and he can dunk. But I mean, I think any
We
NBA
went through
player
a whole
should be able
season.
to dunk.
We went through a whole season of Harden
to
not
be
dunking, so I'm kind of
to
like,
be fair, just like that's always like the cherry on top. Oh, and he can dunk. Like I
Andrew
don't know.
should be able to.
That should be like a prerequisite to the NBA. But so let's end there. You know, maybe we'll bring Harsh for another round for 28.
Well, I hope
This
Harsh
was
wants to
fun.
come back.
As long as he wants to join, you know, he
Always
got a
Dude, I'll
taste.
come back.
It's
This
And
is
if he
always
wants
fun.
to come back, yeah,
Get everything
always
off your
open.
chest, you know.
Yes, the
Get
spot.
him from his
Yeah.
spot if you wanted, dude.
The slot's open. So let's
Yeah.
end there. Harsh, we always say we launch when we launch, and then we say we launch and landed at the end. So I think you should get the torch for this one.
Get the
Say
landed
Philly
part.
Escape Pod, launch and landed. All right. Can you do that for us?
Philly Escape Pod, launch, and landed.
All right.
See you guys
Peace.
next time.
27. See you in
Peace,
28.
guys.
Peace.
Yeah.